Welcome back. Welcome back. Let me get this sound off. Okay. I don't know why I get this echo in my ear. You guys put in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me and see me. Put in the chat. It seemed like I got two other things going on at the same time. Or at least that's what I hear right here. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Maybe I'm going crazy. I, I still hear music and I don't know where it's coming from. Anyway, um, let me see if I can stop. Okay. I don't know. You guys put it in the chat. Let me know if you can hear this music because I can hear it, but it's usually on my screen if it's playing. I don't know what's going on. Or maybe it's just YouTube playing with me right now. Um, but welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We're going to get started in a few minutes. I really appreciate you showing up. While this is playing, let me show you um, where you can find my other YouTube channel at. And I want you guys to follow me there just in case. Okay. Just in case we get, you know, I don't know if you want to call it disconnected, but just in case YouTube start to act funny, I did set up another YouTube channel and you guys could follow me there on that YouTube channel. I was able to stream. I only streamed a couple of days. Nothing too major, but what my method is stream on this channel, maybe post the individual videos on both of the channels, more political stuff on this channel, the Chawanne Burns 2.0. You guys, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Business Talks. You know what? It's been I did a bid. I don't know if you guys seen my posts. I did a bid. I came out with my tattoos. Um, I got my street cred. You know, YouTube jailed me for 7 days. So now I'm out here. I'm out here in these streets and I'm about to represent my crew. You know, I got initiated. I don't know if you want to call it an initiation or a gang or what, but I was initiated. So anyway, we got a lot of stuff I want to discuss today. One being that you know we tend to. Can you hear me? Okay, can you
I
hear me? Okay, I could see myself. Okay, can you
I
hear me? Anyway, so what I'm saying, I mean, when we're voting on you research that constituent or that candidate, and you put thoughts in your effort in researching a candidate on the basis of what they're voting on. And nowadays, you see the person that you voted into office, they don't represent you. They don't represent the constituent. They represent themselves or they're representing special interest groups or whatever, and they feel as if they know what's best for you as the voter. After you voted them in and they said they was going to run on, they're going to do this and do this and do that. And you find out that they not doing none of this stuff that they said they was going to do. They're doing the total opposite. And like I said, we find that with your current administration way up in the White House, in Congress can't get their stuff together. You got some people in Congress, I hate to use the word anti-Semitic because I think it's used loosely, but you got some people in Congress supporting a terrorist group. They think Hamas actions was valid. Then you have your local state government. They doing what they feel like, oh, we know what's best for you. They know what's best for your city. They know what's best for your kids, even though they're not teaching them. And you find that with your local representative in your district. It's no longer we the people. Let's go back to the Constitution, the preamble of the Constitution. The preamble of the Constitution. Let me share this with you. We, the people of the United States, in order to form, well, let's start off, we, the people. They're not saying, oh, I, Congress. Oh, I, Joe Biden. Oh, I, Kamala Harris. Oh, I, Rashida Tlaib. Representative Rashida Tlaib, if you don't know who I'm talking about. She's in Michigan. They're not one individual. We as the individual. No, it says we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility. We lost all that. We don't have domestic tranquility anymore. Provide for the common defense. Promote general welfare. Do we know what general welfare? I'm talking about general welfare for the people of the United States. That's no longer in existence. We had our president a couple of days ago saying that we need to lead by example, and to lead by example is basically going to war, sticking up for other people that had nothing to do with us. And he sent the aid package for $100 billion to Ukraine, for Ukraine and Israel. So this we the people no longer exists, you guys. And that's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're going to talk about. Let me finish this off. Promote the general welfare and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish the Constitution for the United States of America. That's what we were founded on. But that's no longer in existence. Because it's I, the people, now. I, the people, I know what's best for you, and I'm going to tell you how to form a more perfect union. It's to let everybody else over here that had nothing to do with the United States. And I'm not against immigration. I'm just against illegal immigration. I'm against killing mothers and babies. That's what I'm against. Anyway, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about that today.
Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. Looks a little something like this. Looks a little bit like I
So our main story of the hour, we're going to get to Chicago. Now, like I was saying before, we the people no longer exist. There was an alderman in Chicago that was physically assaulted because the Chicago mayor, and it's really not the alderman's fault. The Chicago mayor is just delegating, oh, you're gonna get a 10 in your area, you're gonna get a 10 in your area. He's not really communicating with the aldermans to communicate with their constituents. So when the alderman gets the information, they already made the decision saying, oh, we're going to start building a tent for migrants in your area. I have to call them migrants because I might get canceled. But it's really illegal aliens. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. It's really illegal aliens. So the alderman, she was attacked. She was attacked, and they had to get her out of there. And this is what they had to say.
A lot of people not happy about the migrants being housed in the city.
Some taking their anger out on a local alderwoman. Anthony Ponce is here now with more on that. Anthony.
Yeah, things got real tense today in the 12th ward, where the alderman, Julie Ramirez, says she was assaulted as she tried to meet with citizens protesting a migrant shelter in her ward. You can see there Alderwoman Ramirez and an aide attempting to cross 38th Street right near the site of this proposed temporary shelter. And you can see the crowd surrounding her and the aide attempting to protect her. Eventually, police show up and disperse that group. The protesters are fighting the mayor's plans to construct a temporary shelter at a privately owned lot there. In a statement, Ramirez says she is okay and the staffer was hospitalized but in good condition. She wrote, quote, "I also respect everyone's right to peacefully protest. However, violence and hate is not the answer." She went on to write, "I call on the mayor's office for more transparency, accountability, and more local involvement in the decision-making process." Both the mayor and Congressman Chuy Garcia have also released statements condemning that alleged assault. Dawn?
Anthony, thank you.
Yeah, they released statements regarding that assault, but let's. It doesn't matter. You're condemning the state, I guess the constituents, but you're not even taking their feelings or their problems in regards to your decision-making process. It doesn't make any sense. So you're condemning what they did to this alderman, which I don't condone violence in anyway either. But you're telling these people that's been there in Chicago probably for all their lives, hey, your feelings don't matter. Your concerns do not matter. This is what we gonna do because this is the best for the city of Chicago. We're gonna use your resources, and you better not say nothing about it. And we don't care if they're causing problems for you. We don't care if the crime is increasing for you. You're just gonna have to deal with it. That's what the alderman is basically, not alderman, but Mayor Johnson is basically saying. Mayor Johnson is basically saying that tough is your problem. It says Chicago residents pushed back Thursday against plans to create a migrant tent in the shelter in Brighton Park on the southwest side. A group held a rally Thursday morning saying safety is their main concern, which they should be their main concern. I was speaking with my mother the other day. She has an online boutique and she buys her supplies through a lady in New York. And the lady in New York goes down to the fashion district. She says she can't even go down there no more because immigrants are posted up, robbing people, harassing people. So the only time she can go is like if her husband actually takes her. It was usually her and her girlfriend going, but she says she can't go unless she has her husband with her. So crime is a problem. It says saying safety is the main concern. At the same time, an alderman member or woman and her aide who showed up to the protests were physically attacked, according to the statement from the mayor's office. And the city's current plans calls for the tents to be set up on 38th Street and California Avenue, right across the street from the school. Protesters said they were not given little to no notice about the plans. This is what I said before. They're not telling the residents. They're not giving the residents and allowing them to have input. This would go so much smoother if you hold a town hall meeting. Hey, we are a safe haven for asylum seekers. How can we move forward? We're expecting a growth or a intake or uptick of immigration coming to Chicago. How can we work on this problem together? Instead of at last minute, instead of being proactive, you being reactive. And then you're not even involving the residents. It says the residents were not informed, one protester said. It was through word of mouth and passing things around through social media, contacting each other, voicing our concerns to one another about how we would feel in our neighborhood if this were to happen. Our alderwoman didn't let us know. There were no notices. There was nothing in the mail. We felt very stabbed in the back, which they were. They were stabbed in the back. Because if you are really for the people, like I said, we the people, if you were for the people, you wouldn't have done this. And now you mad because you can't even go outside. You go outside and they want to fight you because they mad as hell at you. They voted you in the office and they thought you was going to represent them, your constituents. But no, you're representing the immigrants, the people that can't even vote for you. I'm going to get to some of your comments in a few minutes. Alderman Ramirez of the 12th Ward said she was leaving the protest and a group of protesters surrounded her and her staffer and began assaulting them. After having a few conversations, it became clear that most of the protests did not want to engage in peaceful dialogue with me. I hear my state residents and want them to know I will always advocate for their safety and ensure our communities have the resources they deserve. I also respect everyone's right for peacefully protest. However, violence and hate is not the answer. Brandon Johnson also released a statement of the assault. I've learned today that the alderwoman and an aide, while attempting to meet with constituents, were victims of a physical attack by area residents. My administration supports the right to peaceful protest and free speech, but this type of action against a public servant is unconscionable. You are saying it's unconscionable, but you are doing unconscionable things. They all got a raise too. Brandon Johnson and these alderman people, they got like a 5% raise. Even though they're out of budget. They're over budget. And I believe the mayor is starting to question what the mayor, or not the mayor, but the governor is starting to question Brandon Johnson competence. Like, how are you going to give yourself a pay raise? And we're over budget by $500 million, I believe. And you're talking about unconscionable decisions. And you're doing unconscionable things. Any violent act against an elected official in our city is unacceptable and must be condemned in the strongest terms. But you have children committing violent acts to the citizens. So you're holding the, public servants is up here. I guess the citizens are way down here. You, the people, we, the people, are way down here. The public servants is up here. Alderman's in there. So you're able to take the violent act. I mean, let me know if I'm going in the wrong direction. They want you to be able to bear all the violent acts while they walk around with a pay raise, and it's unconscionable for them to get assaulted. My office in the Chicago, the police department, are currently investigating this incident, and we provide updates as they become available. That's the only incident you investigate, right? You can't even solve any crimes, but this one you gonna solve. This one you gonna solve, Mayor Brandon Johnson. A community meeting is scheduled for 6 p.m. this Tuesday at College Prep to discuss the issue. The meeting will be in both English and Spanish. Okay, so I don't know if we'll stream that. I don't know how important that is, depending on what's going on, in the news. What solution do you have? Racist Latinos in Los Angeles have put Black people on Skid Row. Yeah, the solution is not if you're a citizen of the United States, you shouldn't be homeless. They're providing shelter for people that's never been it's their first time in this country. If they have the money to provide vouchers and education, healthcare for non-residents or non-citizens of the United States, they should have the money to provide shelter, healthcare for homeless people. And I'm not in LA. I don't know how true this statement is, but I know in LA, California, period, there's a lot of homeless. A lot of homelessness. I just seen a job for I don't know, but it was for it was for Los Angeles or San Francisco, and it's to research the homeless problem. And it's like 100,000 a year. So they're making money off of people being homeless. So they should be able to find shelter for homeless people that are citizens of the United States. And most of the homelessness that's going around in the United States is veterans. We have veterans that are homeless, which is sad. They served our country and they don't have no place to stay. They can't find a job. And it's sick. So one of my solutions, you need to be talking to your local state alderman. I don't know if they call them aldermans, but your representatives in your district. Everybody need to get together and say, hey, we're not voting you in until this homeless problem is fixed. And we're not talking about immigration. We're not voting you in until the immigration problem is fixed. That's what your state legislators and your nationwide legislators fix this problem, or we're not going to vote you in. Homelessness Chicagoans comes first, not those who cross the border illegally. Exactly. Not those who cross the border illegally. Sanctuary policies have dislocated Black people. Exactly. You know who's the brunt of this problem? Black people. And I don't know if you guys watched my last video when I talked about where Chicagoans are suing the city of Chicago. Because all of a sudden we got these programs. Well, one of the ladies that was speaking, she said her daughter has to travel 15 miles just to go to school. Because the school in their neighborhood, they were supposed to open it back up. But all of a sudden, they decided to make it a migrant shelter, which is not zoned for residents. It's not a residential thing. It's zoned for commercial. So they're suing them. And you saw in other districts in Chicago, not only they're taking the active community centers, they're removing the community centers, kids where they go play baseball, basketball, football, and all that stuff. Some of these kids don't have dads in their home, so they go to the school or the community centers so they could stay out of trouble, because we know Chicago is very violent. If you're on the street, you got to be affiliated with a gang. We know that. We know Chicago is that. So to keep the kids off the street, they have this community center, and they're closing it down to make it a migrant shelter. So the city residents are suing them, which they should. They should sue them. And who's the brunt of that? Black people. But what I was getting at, the only problem I had with one of her statements, she's saying you put Blacks against immigrants. It's inhumane for them to be sleeping on the floor, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I wouldn't even make that statement. No, we're Americans. I don't care where they're coming from. We're Americans. You put us first. And that's the only problem with Black people. We try to get this humanitarian effort, like you hear Black Lives Matter standing with Palestinians. No, you're Black, you're American. Put America first. Americans first. Anyway. Yes, they are voting Democrat all the time. That's the problem. We want to kumbaya and sign up for all these causes instead of, hey, this is our problem. This is our problem in our neighborhood. We don't care about all that other crap you talking about. We're not standing with the Palestinians unless you get the homeless people here off the street, unless you open up some drug rehab centers, some job training, get these people off the street, get them to be able to take care of themselves, fend for themselves by providing education and all that stuff, teach our kids. We don't care what's happening overseas. We care what's happening in our neighborhood because it directly affects us. That's why shutting down the community center. Yeah, they're shutting it down. And that's why the city is suing them. The residents are suing the city of Chicago. It's inhumane to put immigrants in Black communities. You are absolutely right, but they're still doing it. The honest truth, great point. We take the hit, and then they go and vote for more of it. Yeah, we vote we vote the same way all the time. You know the blue ticket, you know how you could go in the polling place and you do a straight party ticket without even looking at it. That's what most people do. They do the straight party ticket. We got to stop doing it. We got to start looking at these people and say, look at their track record to see, okay, this fool believes in asylum seekers. And like I said, I'm laughing about it. There's nothing wrong with asylum seekers, but we really got to think of the grand scheme of things. Okay, I believe that they should go in through the proper channel to enter in the country legally, the necessary steps, not going under the border in some cave somewhere, crossing through the barbed wire, um, smuggled in these boxes, like these coffin-like boxes. We seen that a few weeks ago, where the immigrants, they were all crammed and they had this wood box, and they nailed it shut, and there was a whole bunch of immigrants in there. Not on the rail car. That's not how you cross the border on the rail car. But that's the problem that they're seeing. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, the honest truth, I got you what you was laying down though. I figured what you was laying down. Um, they can't recall the mayor of Chicago because the city charter would not allow it. Yeah, I didn't know that. But they should be able to. They need to recall they need to recall the mayor like they recalled the Republican vote for the McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, because he's not doing shit. He's going against the grain. He said he was gonna make it better, and all he did was make it worse. And while your Chicago mayor will say, "Hey, you know, we can't demonize these kids," but you want to demonize your residents because they had a altercation with the alderman. You want to demonize her. I'm and it didn't look like they was like physically assaulting her. Let me share this tab with you. Oh, you are seeing it. It just looks like they just surrounded her, screaming at her. And I guess she felt threatened. When somebody surround you, maybe you do feel threatened and screaming at you. So I could see where she's coming from. You don't want that. But you got to really think about how they're feeling.
Main concern, the plan calls for the tents to be set up to be right across the street from a school. Protesters say they were given little to no notice about the plans and feel they weren't even thought of when these plans were being made.
The residents were not informed. It was through word of mouth and passing things around through social media, contacting each other, voicing our concerns to one another about how we would feel in our neighborhood if this were to happen. Our alderwoman didn't let us know. There were no notices. There was nothing in the mail. We felt very stabbed in the back.
A community meeting is scheduled for next Tuesday at
Yeah, we already read that. We know the community meeting is scheduled for next Tuesday. But anyway, you expect them to act differently and to be all professional. No, they mad as hell. Because not only you're bringing more danger to the community, you're sucking up their resources that's supposed to be for them. and you're telling them to tough it out. Anyway, we're going to move forward. The last story, I can't stay on too long because I got the kids to get ready and dinner to cook. The last story I want to talk about is the Israel and Hamas controversy. It looks like this war is expanding. Now, this is from Mario Nawfal. He posted this morning. It says Israeli army continues to bomb targets in South Lebanon hours after Israeli defense minister said Hezbollah, that's another terrorist group, decided to participate in the fighting and is paying heavy price. And I guess they're reporting on Lebanese TV, the area near the border is just shelled with phosphorus bomb, especially the yarn plane. So don't know how true this is because I guess phosphorus bombs are illegal. I guess they're not supposed to be using those type of bombs, but you have people going back and forth with that. My only thing is, I believe the U.S. We have 2,000 troops over there now. They're saying that our troops that we're sending over there is for administrative support, basically. That's what they're saying. But this just came in an hour ago. Let me see if it let me share it. Share this tab. It says U.S. deployed missile systems to Mideast after Iran threats. American troops at risk across Middle East amid rising tensions. It says the U.S. has warned the American troops and other personnel in the Middle East face the risk of significant escalation of attacks against them as the Israel-Hamas war threatens to broaden into regional conflicts. Lloyd Austin, the U.S. Secretary of Defense, said Sunday he was concerned about potential escalation of fighting in the region. U.S. has about 2,500 troops in Iraq, where Iranian-backed militants have evolved into dominant military and political force, and about 900 in Syria, which is home to Shia militia supported by Iran. Increased security threats against U.S. government personnel and interests. It sounds like we're just immersing ourselves in this war. It sounds like that we are wanting to go to war. Why do we want to go to war? Because it's profits off of war. We don't profit off of it like me and you. But those guys over there, Joe Biden, you got the people in the White House. They are the ones that's going to make the profit. Private military contracts and all that good stuff. So we were talking about, I remember just having conversations when Donald Trump was in office. And the whole thing was, oh my goodness, Donald Trump, he's going to have us go to war. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. He's going to start off World War III. And it sounds to me, it not even sounds, it looks like, and it's inevitable that we will be in a war under Joe Biden. We have further tension with Russia. The two enemies, Russia and China, they don't agree. But now for some reason, they have a common goal to crush the US. So they're talking. They're in cahoots with each other. Iran, for some reason, we're giving them money, but they're our enemies. I don't know. You impose sanctions on them, and then you say, "Oh, here's your money." And so they're back in Hamas, a terrorist group. We release the money. They're saying death to Israel and death to America. So it sounds like we're getting in this war, and we really don't need to be. Instead of like, hey, we need to close our borders and defend our nation, it sounds like that, okay, we already over there, so we might as well participate. Austin said, and reason why I'm saying this, Austin, this is our Secretary of Defense, he says we have the right to defend ourselves and was sending more air defenses to the Middle East, including the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, which can shoot down ballistic missiles. The U.S. also redirected the two carrier strike groups, which has been ordered to head to the eastern Mediterranean. It will instead move to the Persian Gulf. Additional troops have been placed on standby on top of the 2,000, which already have been authorized. So we already got 2,000 over there. So they're talking about 2,000 Marines in the region and on some more troops. They didn't say the number. In this article, they spelled Hezbollah wrong. I don't know if that's a different people or terrorist group, but whatever. If any group or any country is looking to widen this conflict, take advantage of this very unfortunate situation that we see, our advice is don't, says Austin. Both Israel and the U.S. are concerned about increasing fire across Israel's northern border from Hezbollah, on the powerful Lebanese militant group that fought a 34-day war with the Jewish state in 2006. But they end up losing. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, I forget how to pronounce his name, but he's the minister of Israel, warned Hezbollah would be making a mistake of its life. If it decides to enter the war, we will strike it with force. It cannot even imagine the meaning for it, and the Lebanese state will be devastating, he said. Have you guys noticed that, during this conflict, and I'm speaking as far as American citizens, we're divided on this. And I guess I've read some things that I guess the Jewish people that's in Israel are different than the Jewish people that's over here, and the Jewish people that were massacred or genocide was committed against them during World War II. They're different. Some people are saying they're different. I don't know how But anyway, but have you noticed that if you're not picking sides, you're just like, oh my God, you're racist, you're being anti-Semitic, and if you do pick a side, if you're saying, oh, I think Israel has the right to defend themselves, because Hamas terrorist group, sh- they were the aggressor, and now they're saying Palestinians or it's the Palestinian genocide. Well, you started the war, so it's like, I mean, and it's so sad that you got all these people just tit for tat, and it's like, okay, let's take a step back here. What do what does America have to do with this conflict? I know we have some Jewish people over here and we have some Palestinians over here, but we're Americans. I think Joe Biden does have a right, or actually a duty, to try to get those people freed if they're hostages and if they're stuck in Israel and they want to come home. I think it's a duty for them to say, hey, we're going to bring you back home. But is it our duty to say to pick a side? Because this conflict's been going on for centuries. So why do we have to pick a side? I mean, why can't people just be realistic? Like, okay, before we get into this conflict, why can't we just say, hey, let's go and sit at this table and talk about what are the repercussions for us getting involved with this? America itself. Israeli is already involved. Palestinians are already involved, but it has nothing to do with us. So, and it seemed like no one's taking the step back, even in Congress. In Congress, they just, oh, I stand with the Palestinians. You got the crazy squad. I stand with the Palestinians to retribution or retaliation or what is it? What did they call it? Open air prison. Like, no one's ever talked about why don't if Hamas people, terrorist group, really love their people. Now think about this. If they really love their people and they said, oh, we're going to strike against Israel, you guys go further south so you won't be affected. They didn't even say that. They just went in on the strike. They knew Israel was going to strike back. They just let their people stay there. And even when Israel gave them a warning, say, hey, you want to evacuate, we're going to give you 24 hours to evacuate. They gave them more than 24 hours, but we're going to give you 24 hours to evacuate. They was going on the airplane and passing out flyers on the airplane saying evacuate, you got 24 hours. They have aerial pictures up where trucks was blocking the border for them to leave. Now, of course, they're not going to let the people from Gaza into Israel. They're not going to do that. So they're going to have to flee further west. And they wasn't allowed to do that because the Hamas group said, oh, no, you don't have to leave. And they blocked them off. And then you didn't see no one in. Let me show you guys. They said they bombed the that hospital. You remember they bombed the hospital? They were saying Israel bombed this hospital and 500 people was shot. Or 500 people died from that bombing. And coming to find out, it was a misfire. And people went wild. The liberal people saying, "Oh, we stand with Palestinians. It's an open air prison. Israelis are committing genocide against the Palestinian people. They killed 500 people in a hospital," and all these things that they were saying about Israeli, and coming to find out it was the Hamas group that actually misfired this missile. This is it. You could see it was a misfire. It came from the Gaza border, and it actually struck the hospital, but come to find out, the hospital wasn't even damaged. It was the parking lot. So you had 500 people in the parking lot? So that's what I'm getting at. We're so quick to jump on this bandwagon, and we don't even know what the bandwagon is. And they got a note. This is a misfired rocket launch by Palestinian terror operatives from 2022, and it hit Palestinian homes in the Strip, north, killing several people, including children. So somebody put an old one up there. Then you had this one. Did it come at night? You got so much misinformation on there. You don't even understand. But this is the Gaza Strip. And you see lots of talk in recent hours of a failed rocket launch striking the grounds of hospital in Gaza. I think it's timely to remind viewers that rocket produced by terrorists are always effective. Don't know how true that is, but whatever. But it was a misfired missile. Okay? But why do we have to jump on this cause? Why do we as American people have to jump on a cause that has nothing to do with us? Have you guys noticed that? We jump on this cause and we start protesting and marching in the street because we feel like, oh, we gotta have something to attach to. That's why I think we don't have a lot of people that have things to live for, because we're jumping on causes that we don't really know much about. Anyhow, so I'm tired of talking about that, you guys. We're gonna learn more probably tomorrow about this. I'll be online. Well, tomorrow is Monday, so tomorrow I'll be online at 7 o'clock. We're gonna start back with our regular programming schedule. At 7 o'clock, I will be online. I will hope to see you guys. Remember to follow me on my other channel in case I get cut off again. I really appreciate every single one of you taking the time to sit with me and talk with me. And we're gonna do what we do best and talk stuff. Is you probably not gonna like some of the stuff I say, but that's I'm not here to put a band-aid over you. I'm just here to rip the band-aid off and kind of tell you the truth, just to, tell the truth to the American people. That's what I'm here for. All right, so I am sending all my good to you. You guys, it's good to be back, and I will talk to you tomorrow.